Once you've edited your audio in Audacity and are ready to share it with the world, or if you want to use it or work on it in another application, you'll have to save your file in a format that can be read by other applications. Remember when we created a new project, I mentioned how the file system can only be read by Audacity, because in addition to the project file, it also generates several other files to keep track of things like the volume levels of tracks, the pan settings, and so on. When you export your audio, Audacity applies whatever settings you've used and exports a single file. And you can choose from a wide variety of file formats. Let's take a look at some of the options. I have the music bed no fade file open here, but it doesn't really matter what file I'm using. I just needed something open to show you the export settings. So let's say I'm done working on this file and I want to convert it to a non-Audacity native format. I'll choose File, Export Audio. And like most save or export windows, you can name your file and choose where to save it. My desktop is already selected, so I'll leave that as it is. And maybe I'll just change this to music bed finished, or something like that. Then down here under File Type, you can choose the format you want to save the file in. Now, as you can see, there are lots of different choices here. And you're going to find people who swear by lesser-known formats like Ogg Vorbis or FLAC files. And while they do produce great-sounding files, they usually require additional plugins or special applications to play them. If you want to export a version of a file that just about anyone will be able to open with a standard Mac or Windows installation, you just have to decide whether you want to create a compressed or uncompressed file. A compressed file is a file like an MP3 or an M4A or AAC file. These formats reduce the size of the audio, making them a size so you can probably attach them to an email message, while still maintaining decent audio quality. Uncompressed formats produce much larger files, but give you the best audio quality. These are formats like the AIFF and WAV files. If you want uncompressed, I say to go with WAV, because even though the AIFF file is native to Macs, Windows machines usually need QuickTime or some other software to play them. Macs, on the other hand, are able to play both AIFFs and WAV files, and both are uncompressed formats, so go with the WAV format. And in most cases, you'll want to go with the 16-bit version. Now, while we're in here, I should also mention that Audacity can't actually export MP3 files on its own. That requires you to download and install an additional library, and I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. Also, depending on the format you choose, you might be able to adjust certain options. Notice the WAV format has no other additional options, but if I choose something like Ogg Vorbis, you can see we have a quality slider here. If I choose the M4A format, we also have a quality slider. If I choose FLAC files, we have level and bit depth menus. But again, I'm just going to stick with WAV for this example. All right, so I've named my file, I've chosen a location, and I've chosen my file type. I'll click Save. Now, certain formats allow you to edit and save metadata. This includes information like the artist name, the track title, and so on. This information will show up in apps like iTunes or other music players that can read this sort of data. And now my file should be saved to my desktop. I'll just hide Audacity for a moment. And you can see it right here. And at this point, if it were small enough, I could email it to someone, or I could burn it to a disk, or find some other way to distribute it. But the point is that just about any computer should be able to read and play this WAV file. Let's go back to Audacity, and let me show you one more export option you might find useful. Notice under File, we also have Export Selected Audio. You would use this command if you only want to grab a portion of an audio file. Instead of selecting it, copying it, and pasting it into a new project, if I don't need to make any changes to it, I can just make my selection, and I'll just make a random selection here. Then choose File, Export Selected Audio. I could name this music bed clip or something like that. I'll keep the same location and file type and click Save. I'll click OK. So here's the file. I'll just open that up in QuickTime to show you what that looks like. So you can see this is only an 18-second clip. So this can be a quick way to grab just an excerpt from a larger audio track. All right, so that's how you export audio from Audacity.